let's talk about my family, like restoring my family right now. I don't know what's going to happen, but if I set myself up and say, if my family's not restored and we all live under the same roof and my their mother and I get along and we all get back together, if that's the outcome and it doesn't happen, what happens? It's disappointment. It's set yourself up because you can't deal with it. It's putting you at risk for finding some other way to deal with the coping that you don't know how to deal with. Like it's just setting yourself up for nothing but disappointment.
What up,
Gotta
what up,
with it.
what up, what up? We are here
We here.
again, man, with another edition. Watch this. Another edition of a Father's Heart podcast with your boy Sean
And your
and
boy
Cole
Cole. Hey.
and
We got a
Kyle.
special guest. Yes. What's up, Kyle?
What's up? How we doing?
Oh, see, you see, wait, hold up.
Look.
You see, like, Kyle is that, you know what I mean, that cool, laid back. You're like, what's up, Kyle? Good to see you. Like, what up, dog?
Come on, man. It's my first time on here, man.
You
Kyle was
family,
like,
man.
You got. It's like going on a date. You can't like act all that before the entree is served.
I like it.
That's
I
good,
like
Kyle.
it.
That's good. That's
I
good.
like it.
Good.
I like it.
It's
So,
like
Sean, tell
I was
us a
just
little
I
bit
was
about my man that's with us tonight. How
Man,
you know him?
listen, the dude. I like how Cole, how you just getting right into it, right? But
Listen, hey.
listen, before we even get to that, man, I just want to tell the people, man, that we switching the podcast up a little bit, man. We're gonna have more guests, more staple people, man, that comes from a diverse background, so that way you don't have to see the two bearded ones. You know what I mean? You know what I
Hey.
mean? But yeah, man. But no, man, this dude that we have on tonight is super dope. And I think that not I think I know he's gonna be a blessing to a lot of people. His path that he has come down, most people would have gave up, most people would have quit. And you are looking at a warrior, right? You're looking
Man.
at a survivor, and somebody who just didn't survive, but somebody who's now thriving, right? Not perfect, just like how we always talk. We are still growing through. And the crazy thing about it, man, is that I was working with someone a few weeks ago, right? And people hit me up like, "Yo, I'm going through this, I'm going through that," and I'm really big on not being irresponsible,
That's
right? And
good.
I could have been very pious and very like, "Yo, I have all the answers," and the gentleman really needs some help, and I helped him out, right? But I knew that I couldn't get him where he needed to go because I'd never been
Okay.
there, right? It would have been irresponsible for me to try to do to help this guy who needed assistance. And I tell you, man, and I know this dude is busy, man. He's living out in New York. And I was like, man, I just hope he answered because I was running out of answers, man. And like in the middle of the day, man, he answered, bro, and was able to help this dude navigate and make a very incredible, life changing decision for his family.
Mm.
And that's who this guy is, somebody who's
Okay.
selfless. You see that he's humble, but don't get it twisted. He is a coach by trade, not just an athletic coach, but he's a coach as an individual, man. And so, yeah, really good friend of mine, man, Mr. Kyle
Yeah.
Zimmerman himself, man.
Well, man.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Cole. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Sean, thank you. I mean, for
Kyle missed this. Kyle haven't had burners in I don't know how long. You know what I mean? They don't sell burners out east.
They do not.
You know what I mean?
they don't have burners.
No.
No. No
My
one's ever heard
sister
of
would be like, "Yo, could you bring me some burners when you come?"
it.
Yeah, I don't understand that. What y'all drink? When your stomach start hurting, that's
Soda.
what I drink.
Ginger ale,
Soda.
ginger ale,
Ginger
Soda.
ale?
ginger ale.
Seltzer. I never understand the seltzer thing. I don't get it. I can't drink it.
Yeah. But yo, let's get into it, man.
Yeah.
Kyle, we can't wait to hear about this topic tonight, bro. Um,
Yeah.
so Cole, do what
Yeah.
you do, man. The
Listen, man.
bearded one.
Come on, man. so I so okay, so Kyle, one of the things I guess we just gonna kick it off, man.
Yeah, man.
Just to talk a little bit about, we think about our children and we think about our roles as fathers. We always have this vision or this pathway that we want our children to take. Oh, did I freeze?
Nah, you good. You good. I'll
And
let you
so,
know. I'll let you know.
yeah, okay. And so, Kyle, I guess just to kick us off, when you think about your role as a dad, was there a pathway you wanted for your children?
Yeah, I think before I had them, I had this idea of, what a man was and what a dad was based on my experience, and I struggled, with that because I wasn't really sure, what path that was for me. My path was like I grew up in the son of a butcher, right? And he was 90 hours a week building a small business in a small town, and you think what your family's still together, mom and dad are together, you have this loving home, where on the outside it looks like it, but, there was a lot of like us alone with my mom, and my dad had to do it. Like, and I got my work ethic from my dad, and I got those type of things. But um, so like when I was transitioning and having kids, I was like struggling with like, well, is that what I'm supposed to do? Am I supposed to be just providing, or am I supposed to be like, on the other hand, like my mom was hands on, like she was shooting baskets with me, she was doing the, like all those type of things. So I struggled with like what my path was as that, especially with what my transition was when I was having a child. Like I mean, full disclosure, like I lost my job, like as a football coach. Like I've struggled with substance abuse since 2006. That was the first time I tried to get sober. Um, and it's been a battle ever since then. But I was, somehow I was, how do I say this? Successful within like the time frames. Like I could put things together and make it look on the outside like, man, that dude's got it together. Like that dude's doing something. He's helping people. And then at the end, and I can remember sitting after one of our last games. I don't know why this always like resonates with me, but I remember Sean for some reason stayed after the game. Every coach was gone. The stadium was filled with probably 8 to 10,000 people at Davison, and I walked out onto the field, and I was just like, now what?
Mm.
I mean, you just like you everyone thinks like you have all these things, but then when everybody's gone, it's just you. And that's where I've struggled is like what happens when it's just me. When I go home and shut the door before I had children, I had no idea like who I was. And the ironic thing was like Sean used to coach our kids in the off season, and the first thing he would always start with was like, who are you? Who are you at the end? Like who are you in terms of it? Can you answer that question? And I can't even answer that question like right now, but I'm getting closer to being able to answer that question now, you know. Um, so like if we go back to like what you were saying with like, what path do you want to take as a father? I think it's like daily discovering of it and being aware of like you're going to make mistakes and being able to talk honestly about it with them. Because kids are so much more and smart than we give them credit for. Like
Yep.
my son
Yeah.
can take the temperature of a room like that, just like I can, like I know I can feel it. And I thought that like that was always like one of my strengths. Like a lot of guys, I feel like a lot of guys, football coaching was my thing at that time. Like that was my platform to help people. A lot of people probably knew a lot more about football than me, but I would put myself against anyone with how to get people to do things and being able to understand like what drove people and when they were struggling. And so that's where I feel like my life is going now, is like finding ways to still coach and work with people, but it doesn't have to be tied to an outcome of a state championship, of a kid getting into a college, and having, like, I'm just giving you examples, like having two kids that are great running backs and one of them just not going to get on the field. Like that was, I mean, Sean probably knows the situation I'm talking about, but like that
Yep.
drove me crazy because I want to take care of both of these kids, and I'm not doing nothing to hurt them, but in my mind, like these people are mad at me. These people are disappointed in me because I'm not giving them both what they need, even though it's impossible. So like that struggle of like taking your own path um, is something that I'm discovering now and being better about that. So I don't know if that answered your question. I kind of rambled, but like that gives you like that for me like that story of like needing other people's like approval took my path all over the place because all I was trying to do was my path was different every day because I needed to approve. I needed Cole's approval today. I need Sean's approval tomorrow, right? So there's never just, all right, you're taking Kyle's path, right? Because everything was so, like um what word I'm looking for, but everything was so tied to other people and external. That's the word I'm looking for. External things that were, at the end of the day, not serving me in any way.
That's good, man.
Carl, there is so much you just unpacked in this space
Yeah, I
tonight.
know. Way too much. Way too
No, no,
much.
no,
Yeah,
man, no, no, you're not. I think one of the things I think I value so much about what you just said is that you came on our show, right, in this space, and you really unmasked what I think so many men and fathers face on a daily basis. This
yeah,
idea of trying to figure out who they are,
yeah,
idea of being tapped into your emotions and can gauge a room and temperature, and this idea of really dealing with or hiding, and I don't even want to know if hiding is the best word, but this
yeah,
idea of having real struggles and not knowing where it's safe to tell people that you're struggling,
Yeah.
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And I don't know if
Absolutely.
there's a lot of psychological spaces that men can go into to honestly unpack and show themselves without there being shame and judgment. And so I think that what you just shared tonight is my story, right?
Yeah,
It's so many father stories of how do I get the approval? How do I how do I find myself in a world that defines me by this list of things, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I think redefining ourselves is, I think, an everyday journey for me,
yeah.
even when I
And
when I wake up.
yeah, a big step for me in the last 3 months. Like I'm sober, full disclosure, I'm sober 110 days, you know. And
Man,
to be honest, like thinking about being helpful to Sean and the community that he's built, like in my mind, I was like, I don't have the ability to help where I'm at in my recovery, even though I had 4.5 years of sobriety before going back out, But in reality, now where I'm at, it's almost like I've removed outcomes, and that's been a huge piece for me because if I remove the outcome of being 10 years sober and I'm just focused on today and
Come on.
doing the habits that lead to 10 years sober, then why can't I help someone like that, right?
yeah,
And like I can see the comments, and the person that said lacking substance, it's in my mind now. So now I'm gonna just
yeah,
make sure that she,
Yep, yep,
you
yep.
know,
yeah,
like
uh,
because I don't want to disappoint her. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, but that's what I'm talking about. Like taking the outcome, like let's talk about my family, like restoring my family right now. I don't know what's gonna happen, but if I set myself up and say if my family's not restored and we all live under the same roof and my their mother and I get along and we all get back together, if that's the outcome and it doesn't happen, what happens? It's disappointment. It's set yourself up because you can't deal with it. It's putting you at risk for finding some other way to deal with the coping that you don't know how to deal with. Like it's just setting yourself up for nothing but disappointment,
yeah,
right? So take the outcome off the table and just hammer the habits. You want to lose weight, you can't don't take the 100 pounds that you got to lose off the table. Like just start eating more protein today. Just drink more water. Like just make small changes today, and all those small changes are going to compound together just like money, right? And then over time, right, they add up. So it's like small steps compounded together, added up over time. I've written that probably 1,000 times in the last 3 months. Small steps compounded together, added up over time. It doesn't guarantee you anything, right? Except steps towards where you want to go, and it'll be better than today. That's it.
I lost my what you call 'em, Cole. I lost my
This is water.
I brought it back.
You
I
brought it.
brought it back.
Listen, I've been waiting on it since we started. Kyle's been
Yo,
dropping jewels the whole time.
yeah, Kyle, man, there's so much to unpack
That's so much.
there, right? And when he talk about the just being focused on now, and really looking at your sobriety of like not looking at the 10 years sober.
Yeah.
Society put that type of pressure on us, that type of pressure on, let's just look at it, as fathers, we put that type of pressure on ourselves, especially if we didn't have a good father or we didn't have access to a father. It's like, oh, I gotta prove these people wrong, and I'm gonna be everything that he wasn't. And so you're focusing on that end result, but still miss the things that Kyle is talking about, the things that we must do on a daily basis, that will allow us to have that compound interest, right? To become the very thing that we want to become. Yeah. And if we allow that end result to be the main focus, it's going to be hard for us to become that. Right? Because listen, how can you said it before, Cole, how can you be something you've never seen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for real, like you don't know what the daily steps require. You just saying, I want that, but you don't know the price. You don't know the cost. I tell the story all the time, right? When I bought my Frucci baton, right? Everybody thought it was a Louis Vuitton, but it was a Frucci baton. Right? You know what I mean? I wanted it what it looked like, but I didn't want what it felt like, right? I didn't want to invest in what it would cost to have something that was authentic. Right. And that's a lot of times what we miss, Cole.
And I think to just add into that mix, right, is that the real part of it too is it's what we tell ourselves. So much is so connected to what the conversation that we are having inside our head about who we should become, who we ought to be, the shame that we carry from someone else telling us you're not this, and so now before you know it, their voice becomes your own. So it's such a battle inside the mind to really sort of figure out who am I when I'm just trying to communicate with myself. And I think sometimes it's really walking away from that part of that voice in your head that tells you you don't deserve, you've been abandoned, so you just stick with this narrative that ultimately shows itself in your real life. And so I think part of the change is really about how do we make sure we shift the narrative and change the paradigm and the voice in our head. Because I think I know exactly what you're talking about, this concept of getting into that gym, but I'm like, man, what I tell myself, oh man, that becomes the part that I'm ultimately battling the most.
What's up, Father's Heart podcast family? We have sponsorships now, and this week's sponsor is none other than Involved Dad. So listen up, fathers. Are you looking for a deeper understanding to understand fatherhood and make a positive impact in your children and families' lives? Look no further than Involved Dad, right? Where we create strong fathers through fatherhood engagement, right? It's extremely important for children to have fathers that are not only showing up, but they are showing out, that they are fully invested, they are fully engaged. So this week's sponsor is an agency, man, that knows the ins and outs of fatherhood and know how to strengthen families, know how to fill the gaps and connect families to the right resources so they can live their best lives and become more and more successful. So listen, if you need assistance, if you know someone who needs help on fathering, on parenting, co-parenting, or a father that is just struggling, right? That he does not know how and what to do about his next move, because this game that we call this life that we live, sometimes, man, it's like a game of chess, right? Like knowing your next move, and that involve dad. What we do, we help fathers make their next best move. So reach out to us, right? The number is 313-757-1388, and you can find us on the web as well, and that is involvedad.org. No S, because a lot of people put involved dads, although we want involved dads, but it's involvedad.org. So yes, listen, don't be average, you might as well be elite in your parenting and in fatherhood.
Then
And it's when you by yourself.
comparison.
What'd you say?
uh,
What'd you
I
say,
said
Kyle?
compare like comparison is like I call it a thief. You
Oh
know,
man.
if I compare myself to the person who's got 10 years, what it does is it literally robs me of seeing that step that I took today. Like,
Yeah.
like just some small step of like being assertive and not allowing people, people pleasing is a big part of my story. Like being able to tell someone, like, no, that doesn't, I can't do that right now. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that comparison thing also gets eliminated when I just focus on those small things, and
Mm,
that's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but
no.
that's the work though too. Like the work don't lie, like the work also provides you with what makes it worthwhile. Like without work, you'll never get that. I used to tell my kids like you'll never know how special something is until you give up things for it. I want to be moved to tears if that thing happens because I've invested so much into it, right?
Yeah,
But on the same token, if I don't invest things into it, and we'll just talk about sobriety because that's there. If I don't put anything into it, when that moment shows up, that
Yeah.
that 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 I'm in a fight with the mother of my children, I'm in a fight with my boss, or I'm in a fight with my brother, or I'm in a fight, whatever. That moment shows up that I can't deal with that moment. Now it's over because I've invested nothing into it. It
that's
goes in. I told someone the other day it's the same thing with cookies. If you're trying a fitness journey and you don't put anything into it, the day the Oreos show up, it's over.
and you say that, right? I mean, you say that jokingly, but that's real, right? Because we can
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
the big problems, right? But it's the
yeah,
little things that
yeah,
does it as well, right? And if
yeah,
not even more, it's the little
yeah,
things that can really destroy, you know, uh,
yeah,
the whole journey. Because we look at
yeah.
like, oh, I'm not this. At least I'm not struggling with that. Oh, that's not
Right.
my. But the little things that we do prevent it. I realize that I definitely. I'm just glad that I found it early, that I didn't put continue to apply the pressure on my kids of living through them, right?
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
started working on me early, because if I would have kept on like, oh, you're gonna become this and you're gonna become that, but if I
yeah,
never worked on me, bro, we wouldn't be where we are, right? Because I
right.
would have been focusing so much on them being perfect, and them trying to, me wanting them to be amazing, but just avoiding my own journey of becoming the best version
Yeah,
of me. And a lot of times we miss that part, when we talking
yeah,
about, our kids, is that we put so much pressure on them and we neglect to do our own work. And a lot of
yeah,
times the kids, they get pissed, and then they wind up becoming rebellious because they like,
yeah,
yo, you trying to tell me to do this and you not even
yeah,
living this at the crib.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go.
Yeah, no, I think it's as you all just both described, just in the details, right?
Hmm.
And how often do we pay attention to the details?
I'm
When
just
you think
learning
about,
how to.
yeah, yeah,
The
it's
details like take way too long. It slows the process down, right? It's
yeah,
just like it's boring. Like, why do I
yeah,
have to? But that's where gold is, man. That's
yeah.
real gold.
And we also live in a society where everything is a swipe, so you don't really have to
Yeah,
have. because I mean, to really pay attention, you have to pay attention and be intentional about details. But if you can just swipe left, swipe up, swipe right, then it's instant gratification. But we
Mm,
all know what it's like when you have something crock pot. When you crock pot something,
the
whoo, you can
best,
smell it
the
before you
best.
even get through the front door. And so it's that time. But
Yeah.
again, what do we spend our time on? And as
I,
fathers and as parents, how oftentimes than not are we told that our focus needs to be on our children? When you have a child, it's about your children. And I think sometimes it gets lost in that translation, because really I've learned when you have children, it is really about yourself. Because
yeah.
your children they really begin to model and mimic all of the things that they've seen through you.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I think sometimes as parents and fathers, we operate or we start out in a deficit too. Because we start off saying all the things that I'm never going to be the kind of father that my father was. I'm never going to be the kind of mother that my mother was. And I could tell you, there are times in my life where I'm like, man, I sound just like my mother.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I sound
yeah.
just like my mom. And that can be healthy and unhealthy. So I think it's really like you both have said, how do as fathers we pay attention to the small details.
Yeah.
I
And
think
I think
for me, man, I think for me is like accountability with individuals that I have in my circle, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was my boy DeAndre who shared this with me, man, and I live by it now. He's like, and somebody might have taught him or said it, but he was like, he keeps three type of people in his life: someone that look up to him, someone that walk alongside him, and someone
Yeah.
that he looks up to,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so that one that because you don't want to let the person down that's looking up to you. That person that's walking alongside of you, they know all of the details,
All of
so they holding you accountable. And then
yeah.
that person that you looking up to, they're just showing you and charting the path. And so for me, that is what has helped keep me balanced, right? To so that way, like all of my circle is covered because I don't want to let him down. This person gonna call me out, and I'm like, man, if I want that, yo, your behavior and what your practices is definitely not lining up to what they say the blueprint is,
yeah.
and that's what I have done.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
that's
too, like some of the best moments I've had with my daughter's one, so whatever.
But just
She's like
yes, yes. How old is your son?
so they both turn. So my son will turn 6 next week, and my daughter will turn 2.
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that they're
I'll
incredible. But like, my best moments with them have been things that they've caught, I like to say, from me. You know what I mean? Like not me teaching them, but and like um just by them seeing us living, when I see that, like that's the so that's what motivates me, and makes me understand, like how I'm doing things now. I might not see it right away though. That's what we have to. That's in this world that we live in. That, like you just said, Cole, is instant gratification. Like that's the biggest thing I want to try to get ingrained in them, is that the work doesn't give you the results right away. Like if I'm going to be on this show, like I'm going to talk about this book, Chop Wood, Carry Water, because it changed my life. Like the whole
mm,
concept of this book, and like the one part in there that really resonated with me is like, do you guys? I know nothing about trees and stuff like that, but a bamboo tree, you ever hear
Yep.
like a
Yep.
bamboo tree, like how strong a bamboo tree is? But did you know that like you have to literally water a bamboo plant for 5 and 6 years, and you will never see that bamboo come all out of the ground? Like, and it just builds underground, and then all of a sudden, after like 6 years, it's just boom, like, and it
yeah.
takes off, right? And the only reason that it's able to withstand all of that fast growth is because of how strong it is underneath, So like I think about that, like that whole analogy of like putting in the work and you're not seeing it and you're not seeing it, but when that takes off, like, and that's what kids do, like they just take off, like So that helps me like understand, living it and letting them see it, and then you get those little like moments that it clicks for them. I've been working on shooting a basketball with my son lately, and he always like, I can't do it, I can't do it. And I'm like, Daddy's favorite word is can. I can do it, and it's on his word ring, so he sees it all the time.
Yeah.
And then, I always tell him, I'm like, you got to just tell yourself, I think I can, I think I can. Like that book, Little Engine That Could.
Yep.
Um, and the other day, like he's shooting, he can't make, he's shooting, and all of a sudden he's just like, you're gonna be happy with me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like you just missed it, man. You just missed it. He's like, well, then he made one. He's like, you're gonna be happy. I'm like, you made it, good job. He's like, no, no, that's not it. He's like,
That's
before I shot it, I said, I think I can, I think I can, I think
Shut
I
up.
can. Yeah, yeah.
Shut
So
up,
then, yeah.
yo.
So then he sits there and he's shooting, and I can see his lips. I think I can, I think I can. And I was like, wow. So
That's
those are
dope,
the
wow.
things
bro.
that like keep you doing. You got to have those wins like that to keep you on the track. You don't have to have like the massive, like outcomes, but you got, it helps to have those those small wins.
And I know we
Wow.
could, man. I know we could talk about so much. I mean, we get close to our time, but Kyle, with that being said, what you just said, what you've gone through, how has that impacted your ability to parent, to infuse that type of thought process in your son? Like, does like your path, does that motivate? Does that contribute to how you parent?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it allows me to be a lot more patient. I tend to believe like, and I've said this before, like the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, whatever anonymous you want to go to, you don't have to be an alcoholic or an addict to benefit from reading that literature. Unfortunately, you have to have usually something happen in your life to end up in the room where that book is. But that book is a design for living. Like that book allows you to become patient, to become, more aware of other people, and that book like helps me, you know, have this like ripple effect, because I've now changed the way that I live, and now my son is going to see that, and his sister's going to see that, and their mom's going to see that, and then the people that they treat, are going to see that. So, um, me going through what I've gone through, going back to your question, like has given me this shift, like of how I see things. So like my shift now is like all these things that's in the past have taken me back to substance abuse and back to things that don't serve me or the people that care about me. I can now take those, and they can be the greatest asset to help my son, to help the person that you got me on the phone with the other day, where and before I don't answer the phone for one, but if Sean's calling me at 8 o'clock in the morning, like, man, something's wrong. I gotta answer that phone. You know what I mean? Like for real, like,
Yeah,
No, that's true.
like something must be. And in the past, I would have been so worried about what someone might think if I pick up my phone right then. But like, I'm trying to do what's best for me, because if I take care of myself and do what's best for me, it's best for the people around me. So, but having that ability, that shift, like to look at things and be like, how is this an opportunity? And I go back to that, when we lost our last year, Sean, and we came out, we lost to Midland, and Sean's message was like, we're going to turn this loss into a lesson. So we're not really losing, you know. This is never really a loss if we interpret things like that. Like everything that happens to us is not bad. It's like, oh, I didn't get that job, I must not have been ready, right? I didn't
yes,
get this. So if I can look at literally everything that happens to me throughout the day as just like an opportunity to learn and grow, like how do I lose? How do I take things backwards if that's the way? Now you're not going to be perfect with that, but like if you're aware of it, you're going to be in a lot better place.
that's good, man. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Cole. I told you. I told you, Kyle got jewels, man. He tried to come through all super humble, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
told you he
yeah,
got
yeah.
jewels, man. He has jewels. He has jewels. So no, man, it's
But
good.
that, like, that's a good, but that, I mean, and I appreciate you saying that, and a lot of when I'm taking care of myself, I get that a lot, and I don't think that about myself. You know what I mean? But like to waste this, like I gotta find. That's what, and I mentioned it to you guys in a text, today. Like I feel like I have something, an idea, that lends to this, because for me to not use what God gave me it's on me. Like I feel like like I have the path now, and I can use, these skills and these strengths that have been given to me for a better purpose than winning football games. Winning football games is cool, but changing people's lives is a lot better.
Oh yeah,
Not It's not better, but it's like,
I know
it's
what
like
you mean.
I
It's
don't mean to say
impactful,
it like
bro.
that.
You
Yeah,
change their life.
yeah,
They win football games.
yeah. Right, right. And we did. I mean, I feel like we did have a. Is that
Yeah, I love it, man.
so?
Cole, yeah,
You know, it's it's rare that I can that I'm that someone thank you, thank you.
yeah,
Cole, when I met Sean hated the game of football.
yeah,
Mm,
And I think about that a lot, like in terms of, because my relationship with God has always been like in and out, and like praying before football games, and please let me win this game so I can,
yeah.
like that's where it was, but like the things that have happened in my life since November 10th or 11th, I've thought a lot about things, and to be able to, how our paths crossed, and now Sean's a head football coach of his son. Like I just don't know if that happens.
yeah,
If we don't end up in your basement talking about the Dallas Cowboys, on a random Saturday afternoon. Like I had no idea who you were,
Yep,
like,
yep,
um, but it grew from there. And then there's, like, let's call a spade a spade. Not a lot of the coaches that we and I coached with stayed in touch after I went through what I went through. Like Sean has always answered my text messages and calls, and and I appreciate that. And, I don't know. There's just things that have happened that have opened my eyes to, like, I'm I'm make I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like I was in treatment, and my last day of treatment, they have groups come in to run AA meetings, right? And then the last day before I left, one of my former players walked in to run the meeting, and I was sitting in the treatment center. Like there's a whole lot of places I could have ended up.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And I took that, like I've never had my heart beating so fast. I was like hiding in the room because I didn't want him to see me. And then at the end, I finally just raised my hand, and I was like, I don't know what else to say other than God has put me here to tell you that I'm proud of you. Like, and that's all I could. And I've talked to him ever since, and he's 6 months sober, and just not just that, like I've met my sponsor at a bit. The last thing, and then I'll shut up, I promise. But I met my sponsor at a business networking in August. I met
mm,
this guy. I never talked to him at that meeting though. Right? Never spoke to him. I went to get there. I've been treatment, so August, September, October, November, January. I walk into this meeting, and that dude's sitting right there.
mm,
I had never talked to him, and he was the only guy I resonated with at this business networking meeting that I had no idea. Like I'm Sean knows, like I'm not a business person. Like
yep,
like
yep.
I'll show up wearing a hoodie and whatever. But like
Facts.
but I resonated with him because I could see he was into fitness, like just the way that he. But I never talked to him.
yeah,
And I show up 4 or 5 months later at this room that I walk into with 50, 60 people, and this dude's sitting right there when I walk in. Like, come on,
Yeah.
that's not coincidence.
No, and
Yep.
and it's crazy, Kyle, because we started this conversation about pathways, right? And
Yeah,
you just ended with nothing is a coincidence. Like
yeah,
the path has already been paved.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
Figure out which pathway it is and begin to walk. So, Kyle,
Right.
I'm looking forward to many moments
Yeah,
on this podcast where you will have a continued opportunity to lend your voice in this space. And you did for me what I know you did for everybody tonight, and you reminded us the importance of doing our work,
yeah,
and loving
yeah,
ourselves. I
yeah,
think the universal thing that I heard throughout your story tonight is about love.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know
That's
that
right.
that's that's what's missing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
so I'll say it again. Thank you, brother.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. I hope I shared something with someone that helps them, and even that, and that, like what you just said, like that's what I hope someone hears is like people who do struggle with addiction, it's not because they don't love people, it's not because they, like they're struggling like that. And that's that shift again. It's like if somebody's acting a certain way, like something's going on. Like try not to
Yeah,
judge, like try to ask them, like instead of like responding with anger, just be like, oh, like what's going on, like
yeah,
this isn't you, and when you come, like when someone comes across to me like that, like I'm more apt to almost like break down and be like, "Dude, this is what's up." Like, if you come at me and come like I'm just shutting down, So
yeah, yeah,
It's
I
yeah.
not.
appreciate it, man. I
It's
appreciate both of
not.
you.
It's not what was wrong with you.
That's
What
what
happened
happened.
to you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the question. What happened to you?
yeah, yeah, right.
And so, as we close, we haven't done it in a few weeks, but I have one. So we'll shift gears before we get out of here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see where we at. Oh,
What
where
are
we
we
we at?
doing?
We're
What
about to
what
get
are we
out of
doing?
here, but we can't close without doing it.
yes,
I wish I had a drum roll, but I have the legit or not legit.
Sean, wait.
I was looking for a drum roll.
What you about to do, Sean?
He's
Listen,
got something in his hand.
is it legit or not legit to wear these? These are not Crocs. My
What?
children call them frocks. I don't care. I wear these. Is it
Oh,
legit
yeah.
or not
For,
legit
for
to wear?
you go.
I didn't know
You
where
going?
you were
Are you
going.
going? Are you going sport mode or are you going
Oh.
lounge mode? Which one?
Is it legit or not legit to wear
You're taking out.
these?
I think if you're
Are
taking
you
out the garbage, you're okay.
are
That's
you
about it.
okay?
Garbage?
Are you? He looked like he
That's
got the
not.
grass in him. I don't know what.
Grass? Yo,
What
yo,
are they?
my family hates them, bro.
Are they
I'm gonna
comfortable?
side. I'm gonna side with your family.
Are
So
they
they're not
comfortable,
legit. No, you can't say that. Is it legit or not legit?
bro?
It's not. It's not my
Okay,
thing. It's not legit.
are they bro? Are they comfortable? Are they comfortable?
To me, you mean I
Hey,
never had a pair of Crocs. You know what I mean?
it's
So my family call them frocks, bro.
listen,
It's
My
listen.
like
Let
a
me
wife
tell you
was
bag.
like,
something.
"You better not ever, dude." I just dropped Levi and them off to soccer tonight with them on. I'm like, "Yo, right now,
Hey,
call Kyle. I got him in sport because just in case I gotta get up and run, bro."
Oh yeah, I get it. I get it.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah. Hey, man.
Don't run. Don't run oh, you got him in sport coach in case you run,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you're wearing. Wait, you're wearing them right now?
Yeah, he just took him off his
What are you
feet.
Oh
talking
Okay.
about?
god.
What are you talking about?
Oh, oh my god.
What are you talking about?
Wow. I mean, that's a sweet outfit until you get
He
to
What are you
looked
that.
like
talking about?
what's the what?
Hey,
I mean, the
don't
hoodie's
play with
sweet. The
me.
pants are nice.
Don't
What?
play. You saw the kick. Yo, I still got it, bro.
Sean, you
Yo,
reminded me of that dude used to bald dude that used to do those exercise videos. I can't
Tybo?
think of his name.
Tybo?
Tybo.
Sean,
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Billy,
Let's
Billy
go.
Blanks, Billy Blanks,
Billy
Billy Blanks.
Yes,
Blanks.
yes, that's what it was. That's what Billy Blanks. He was doing
Yeah.
Tybo.
And then
Yes,
there was
bro. That's
Sean
just like,
T. There was
Yeah, I
Sean
remember
yeah,
T.
Sean T.
yeah,
Insanity.
I remember Sean T.
Man.
I like Billy Blanks. Yo,
I say it's legit, brother. You comfortable?
that's what I'm
So
talking
hey,
about. That's what
I'm
I'm
with
talking
you.
about. Hey, Shakita, is it legit or not legit? Let me see what you got to say. If you still here, is it legit or not legit? I think it's
He gonna say
legit.
it's legit.
Should I be able to wear my frocks? They call them, y'all wear Crocs. I
We
wear
low.
frocks. She said legit. Let's get it.
Listen,
If she says
listen,
legit, it's done.
we low key need to bring. We might need to invite Shakita on
Yo,
because
I
Shakita
would
been
listen. I was
dropping
thinking
jewels.
that. I was thinking that.
We need to
Shakita,
have
I'm gonna hit
Shakita
you up.
on.
We gonna bring you on. We gonna
You
bring
need
you
to
on,
come on.
Shakita. We gonna
We
bring you
need you on.
on, homie. All
We need
right,
you on.
man. Until next week, we'll
Hey,
see you in a minute.
all right.